All right, guys, this is Mr. H. Hey, I'm going to do another quadratic formula. This one is another one, just like the one we did before, where it says we have to simplify the radical. All right, now, again, we're going to do exactly the same thing. We always start by doing the A, B, and C. So A is 3, B is a negative 10, and C is 5. And then we're just going to use the quadratic formula. So it's going to be a negative 10 plus or minus the square root of a negative 10 squared minus 4 times 3 times 5, all of that divided by 2 times 3. Now, you got to do this. Again, I'm going to keep saying this. You got to do this to show the test makers that you know how to use the quadratic formula. Now, once you've done this and written this on your paper, we're done with it. We're going to use the calculator from here on out. So we're going to go. So I'm going to delete this. And we're going to go use the calculator now. So we're going to grab the calculator. Where are you, calculator? Right here. And now, again, we're going to go to the graph and we're going to enter that equation. Now, here is the one thing that I need you guys to see. Anytime you want to simplify the radical, you have to make sure that this leading term is 1. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this entire equation and divide it by 3. And so 3 divided by 3 is going to be 1. So then I'll have made it utility to the kind of equation that I can now graph and simplify. So let me show you exactly what I mean. All right, so I'm going to get the calculator. And I'm going to do a stack fraction. You don't have to, but I think this is the easy way. And on top, I'm just going to put in the equation. So it's going to be 3x squared minus 10x plus 5. Now, down below in the denominator, I'm just going to divide by the leading coefficient. Whatever the leading coefficient is, that's what I need to divide by, because that's going to make the equation into a leading coefficient of 1, which is what I need. Now that I've done this, all I'm going to do is do the same thing. I'm going to find the minimum or the vertex down here. Bam, bam. Now, so here is my answer. Now, I'm going to have to convert these to fractions, but this is my answer for this question. So let me go back and show you exactly what I'm doing here. So I'm going to take a picture and I'm going to show you what I've got here. So the vertex is 1.6 repeating, and then it's a negative 1.1, right? Repeating. So here's what I'm going to do. I wrote this because this is going to be my x part. This is going to be the square root part. So, but I need these to be in terms of fractions. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to take, it's going to be x equals, and I'm going to convert this into a fraction. I'm going to convert this into a fraction, and I'm going to take the square root of it. Okay, so let me show you exactly what I mean. Yeah, so I'm going to get rid of this and go now. So here's what I'm doing. I need the calculator, and I'm going to convert both of those numbers. So I'm going to go here, go to the calculate screen, and I'm going to take that. What was it? It was negative 1.6. So it was 1.666. So it was a repeating decimal. So I'm just going to put a bunch of sixes there. Then I do menu 22. So boom, that's the first part. That's going to be x equals 5 over 3. And then I need the plus or minus part. So now, again, I'm going to take the y part. It has to be positive. So it was 1 point, and then it had repeating ones. So I just put a bunch of repeating ones there. And now I'm going to do menu 22 on this as well. And it tells me it's 10 over 9. So now I'm going to use this. This is almost the simplified form. So I'm going to go to my iPad, and I'm going to show you what it should. Oops, dang it. Hold on. iPad died on me. Let me try this again. All right, there we go. All right, so now here's my iPad. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to say x is equal to 5 over 3 plus or minus, and then I'm just using the y part. You see this 10 over 9? It's going to be the square root of 10 over the square root of 9. All right, so now I'm almost done. Now this is a perfect square, so this reduces to x equals 5 over 3 plus or minus the square root of 10. I can't simplify the square root of 10. That's already simplified. It's just 2 times 5. There's nothing else I can do with that. But this square root of 9, I can simplify to 3, and that's my answer. Now, I can write it like this, or I can combine the denominators and write it like this. It doesn't matter. Both of those are oops, I'm not showing you guys what I'm doing. All right, so again, I got x equals 5 over 3 plus or minus the square root of 10 over the square root of 9. And then because the square root of 9 is a perfect square, I can simplify that to just 3. So here is my equation. This is the x part. This is the y part converted into fractions. And then I take the square root of that. And this is your final answer, or you can leave it like this. So let me go and show you how I would enter this. I thought you guys were with me on that last part. So I'm just, whoops, go back here. I'm going to delete this. And I'm going to type in 5. And then I'm going to do plus or minus the square root of 10. And then on the bottom is going to be 3. Now, let me make sure. Yep, that's it. So notice I'm using this 5 over 3. That's this first part. And then the square root of 10 over the square root of 9 is the second part. And since the square root of 9 simplifies to 3, that's why I have it. In fact, I'm gonna break this up a little bit. So I want y'all guys to see that it doesn't matter. So I'm gonna do this. Divide. I'm gonna do 5 over 3. And then I'm going to do plus or minus. And then I'm going to do on top, it's going to be the square root of 10. And then on the bottom, it's going to be 3 because the square root of 9, the square root of this 9 is going to be a positive 3. And boom, I submit it. And that's correct. So that's it. Now, I know there was a lot going on, but a couple things. If you are trying to simplify a radical, the leading coefficient has to be 1. So when you graph it, it has to be, let me go back to my tab and go up. It has to be, I divided it by 3 to make this leading coefficient 1. Now, once I find the minimum, whatever this is, since these are decimals, I got to convert them into fraction. And 1.666666 is basically 5 over 3. And this 1.11111 is the same thing as 10 over 9. And whatever this y value is, you always take the square root of that number, whatever it is. If it's a fraction, you take the square root of the fraction. If it's an integer, you take the square root of integer. If it's a decimal, you convert it to a fraction, and then you do that, okay? That's it. That's how you simplify and get this answer, all right? Basically, we just need some practice, but that's how you're doing it. All right, so I'm going to stop, and I'm going to post this. I'm going to do a couple others to show you what we're doing.